BDS presents the HypeHour with your host, Andrew Catapano and Bregan Adams, featuring today's special guests, Fred Guarantevi, Trevor Sumner, Shannon Curtis, and Jason Jones. Today's topic, Connected Commerce Part 2, Retail Rebirth with People-First, Digital-Led, Customer-Obsessed Shopping Experiences. Here are your hosts. Let's get started.
Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for sticking around. Some technical difficulties today, but that's what happens.
Beauty of live streams.
Yes,
Beauty of live streams. But thank you to Mitchell and Rachel in the studio, pivoting, figuring it out, and getting us live, because then what would you do without me and Miss Bregan Adams?
Hi, guys. I am super happy to be here today, filling in for Kelly Campbell. Pretty big shoes to fill, but I'm going to do my best. So
Absolutely. Bree, again, we've done this before.
Kind of, in a way, yes.
We've done this before. We are not new to the live streaming genre. I think we have either a picture or a clip of Bree again doing some live stream fun. Do we not, Mitchell? There she is. Bree again, and I lit a literal dumpster fire for a brand. That was a hot day, not to mention the hot dumpster.
Yes, that was, I think, 2 months into my career here. So it's funny because at the time when Andrew said he wanted to light a dumpster on fire, I thought he was crazy and it wasn't going to work. I still think he's crazy, but now I kind of think his ideas are going to work. So there's been a change of heart for sure.
There has been a change of heart. Thank you. Bree, again, before we get into the show, beautiful name, Bree again. Tell us a little bit about the origin and what's going on there.
It's Irish.
Irish
Catholic, yes. Come from a big Irish Catholic family. We all have weird names. I just happen to have the weirdest. So,
well, it's a beautiful name. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And on that note, I think DJ Tiesto says it best.
Let's get down, let's get down to business.
We're all getting down to business. The business of connected commerce.
We're just
Part 2.
Still dancing?
We're still dancing.
Okay.
All right, let's get back. Let's get down to business. Today we are talking about connected commerce Part 2.
Part 2.
Right?
So nice. We got to do it twice.
So nice. We got to do it twice. As we know, omni-channel ambassadors are involving omni-channel marketing is involving into connected commerce. And we don't talk in terms anymore of channel execution marketing. We talk in terms of the customer being the channel, and where we have to meet them anywhere, anytime, any place, any device on their journey, on their terms, regardless of the channel. We need to connect to the customer.
Yes.
And we need to connect all those points of commerce to the customer.
Yes.
So today we are talking about it because we are truly excited to talk about some innovative things that people are doing, including BDS, Connected Solutions, because we love to drink our own Kool-Aid, all right? We're not immune, to see how we can be people-led but digital-first in this world of connected commerce, and what many of our partners are doing to connect this customer journey at retail, online, and on the street, right? Who do we have to talk to us about this today, Bree?
Wow, we have 4 awesome guests kind of from all over the board. I will go through them quickly and then we'll start the chats. So first we have Fred Guarantevi. Fred is the CXO, Chief Experience Officer, which I had to Google. I didn't know what that meant. I thought it was pretty cool.
It's embarrassing. It's people watching.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's my first time, okay?
All right,
it's my
fair
first
enough.
time.
We'll let it slide.
Fred is going to be talking about how brands and retailers are starting to recognize the customer as the only channel that matters, like you were saying, and servicing them seamlessly via experiences online, offline, and on the go. Then we have Jason Jones. He is the Director of Client Services at BDS, and he is talking about the rise of the Anywhere Ambassador and the importance of having passionate, hardworking people on your team who can sell anytime, any place, and in any way a brand needs them to.
That's right.
Then we have Shannon Curtis. Shannon is the CEO of New World Natural Brands, and she's going to join us to talk a little bit about why it's so important to know exactly who your customer is and how you can connect with them no matter where they prefer to shop. And then lastly, but not least, we have Trevor Sumner. He is the CEO of Perch Interactive. And Trevor is going to talk about how brick and mortar stores are meeting new buying expectations through digital transformation and data connections.
Yeah, and I've had a chance to meet all of these people. Shannon, unfortunately, did not get a chance to meet, but we've got the video of Shannon in her interview, I believe, with you or Kelly.
Kelly.
Oh, Kelly did do the interview.
Kelly will be back for a little bit.
Kelly will be back for a little bit. With that, let's get Fred Guarantevi in here and let's get down to business. Are you? Yes. Fred, you didn't get a chance to dance.
Oh, I'm going to wait till after the show. I have to build up my excitement and let it out at the end. But you guys have it covered, so thank you.
You didn't get a chance to dance.
No, not yet.
All right, Fred Guarantevi, got a chance to meet you obviously a few months ago when we were talking to doing some work with you and your brand through Patty Morehouse. Heck of an individual. Then I got another chance to meet you as you were prepping for this show. Fantastic guy, hard name to say, but an easy guy to love. So Fred, welcome. And Fred is part of the Luxottica and a marketing leader in sunglasses, readers, and specialty eyewear. It's a 100-year legacy, continues with new partnerships, cutting-edge designs, industry-leading innovation in areas of sustainable material, blue light, and multifocal lenses. That's the context they make me read, Fred. But now let's get authentic and tell me, what exactly do you do, and what is your responsibility at FGXI?
So I was laughing when Brie again said she had to Google it because I had to do the same just about 25 minutes ago. No, I'm kidding. So I'm a pure play digital guy. I actually started in tech and engineering, and most of my focus throughout my career has been product development. It has been building digital and technical teams and capabilities at different types of companies. At FGX, that's continued with really, boosting our digital first mindset. It's serving as a connector between our e-commerce and digital expertise groups, global marketing, and our product development groups. And a lot of this has to do with the mindset that we've taken and others in the organization to really think about exactly what we're talking about here, right? The consumer is the channel, the consumer comes first. And we really have to consider that not just from a go-to-market perspective, but when we make product, when we think about types of experiences we're going to create at shelf or online, these things can't function independently. So my job is really very much a connector role, and serving as someone who has been, a pure play digital guy for my entire career. It's been great because I've, grown up into marketing first organizations, R&D led organizations. So this is a really good, culmination of those things.
Well, Fred, so you said it, which is a great segue into my next question. A pure play digital guy who is now having to bridge this gap between this in real life and online experience and meeting the customer wherever they are. We've all heard of omni-channel. We understand that I'm sorry of those who are still using it. I'm understanding it's beginning to be a little bit passé, where omni-channel is more focused on the channel and connecting those experiences. But now we have to focus on the customer and connects all of their experiences wherever we meet them. What are you doing specifically for people who are watching to bridge that gap where you are in your role?
Well, the first thing I think is from the mindset perspective, I think you just said it is, omni-channel is kind of an assumption at this point, or it should be anyway. But historically, there's been bad and good omni-channel. Bad omni-channel meaning we're spending money in a bunch of different places at once with less regard for connectivity. I think really the mindset we shoot for, and really informs a lot of the work that we're doing, is understanding that it's not an online consumer, it's not a retail consumer, it's not a mail order consumer. It is all the same consumer, and it is proven that this consumer interacts with the brand in many different places, regardless of where they purchase. And sometimes that purchase could be made at first in a store. it could be made online or both. And so, being cognizant of that, a lot of the solution design that we focus on is really, how do we connect these different services to different contexts? So a good example is, like many companies, in eyewear and beauty and apparel, we've invested a lot recently in virtual try-on. Obviously, AR is not new, but continues to pick up steam. And during COVID, I think even more so because, this was really both a touchless as well as this remote shopping mindset that people who traditionally were, accustomed to going into a store, picking up a product, manipulating it, weren't really able to do that. And so the original, premise was, okay, well, if we start to activate VTO in this way, this has become about, health and safety. Does it become about experience or both? And I think what we found is it really is about both, but ultimately it was a boost for us. And I think other companies thinking the same way as to, this is the way people want to shop. And the thing is, if somebody is online, they have a great experience with AR, virtual try-on, why would we deprive someone at the shelf of that same experience, knowing that they're going to shop there, right? So one of the things, we're starting to launch actually, virtual try-on is based on people's own devices in stores, our big retailers. And I think the big shift there is, I've, for a good deal of my career, I've worked in both, fixed point of sale solutions and mobile solutions and anything in between. And I still believe in both, but I think part of the impetus for finding something that was scalable on the user's own device is exactly that. It's that, we didn't know what kind of hesitation we were going to see around people handling a screen and definitely handling a physical product. I mean, for our category, we sell a lot of readers, a lot of sunglasses and blue light eyewear in every major chain. Foster Grand is everywhere, all of our sub brands. So, it's historically, it's a brand that you pick up and you look at and you try them on. There's a little, fixed mirror there, but, knowing what knowing what we've been through this past year and a half, we didn't want to take for granted people were going to jump right back in that. But more importantly, it was about getting people to adopt different ways of exploring eyewear and getting them excited about it. Versus this is a health and safety only approach. So it did force our hand a bit early on, but I think both due to that and just the, I would say a lot of rapid adoption of behavior, it really set us up very well for exactly that, which is starting to look at how do we bring these experiences, which are traditionally online experiences, to people at scale. And so coming back to your original question, I think this is the type of thing that we are thinking about just natively. It's always, how do we connect these things? If we've got a great assisted shopping tool, a product selection tool, a way of, teaching people about what the product does, why would we make that an online only play when we can simply, make it an any channel play, right? And make it easily accessible to the consumer at shelf as well. Understanding that any number of endpoints they're going to engage with before they hit that particular product, right?
And I get the strategy, right? So and you're speaking my language, and I could sit and listen to you, and I love it. I'm going to jump down into your reliance on third-party retail. So what COVID has done is accelerated, it's made us ambitious about having to connect with a customer online more than ever before. Even if we should have before, COVID became our CTO and said, you must do it. However, we know that there is no substitute for the in-store experience. Yes, the eyewear is a lot of try on, but it's also a lot of feel. It's a lot of touch. It's a lot of weight. It's a lot of fit, right? So nothing can replicate the in-store experience. It's about marrying those two. You've hit those strategy points. Are there specific? I mean, I think in our pre-roll, you were talking about QR codes and some different things that you might be doing in the physical displays. What are these specific things you're doing to help support understanding the strategy? What's the tactical things that you can tell us that you're doing to support your third-party retail partners?
So, I mean, there's a couple of things. I think the first thing is from just a CTA and a pickup standpoint. Yes, QR codes are still, we've been talking about or predicting the death of QR codes for years, and they're not going anywhere, right? And there's some new standards evolving, I think. Especially again during this last year and a half, most of us have who have braved a restaurant or an outdoor cafe have seen menus or any other information being. There's no more physical menus. It is a QR code on a table tent. That's the way you pick up your menus. So once again, this inherent behavior plus the fact that any modern smartphone has a camera that automatically recognizes a QR code, can action it. It makes sense as a as an easy pickup point. Now, it's beyond that, though. Again, talking about really the connecting with the consumer anywhere aspect. When we work with, let's say, a Costco or a Target or one of our close retail partners, we're doing things in a number of channels. It's not just at display. And, what we start to actively do really is, if we're doing something at the shelf, how do we start communicating that through other media and other places, right? So we're talking about the same product online. Each one of these channels has a different role. And I think the best way to do this, and good omni-channel, is really to make sure that all of these channels are contextually aware of each other. So if we're doing something great online, bring it to the shelf. We're doing something that really activates in a big way at the shelf, connect people to it online, or at least enlighten them that is available, right? And the end goal is awareness, but the other end goal is let people shop the way they want to shop. Like you said, there's people who they're fine with picking up the product and handling. And if they want to do that, that's perfectly fine. But I think there's, beyond just utility, there's an excitement factor and there's a bit of a magic around good virtual try-on that gets people excited about the product. And that's really what it's about. It's not just selling the product. Of course, it's about selling the product, but the best way to sell the product is to get people excited about it. And so a lot of these technologies not only are accessible ways for people to do that, but at the same time, there's a lot of ways to address this and make it magical for people, which is a great bedfellow to the traditional experience of picking something up and playing with it, right? So
that's right. So you've talked about the strategy, you've talked about the tactics, and I have to believe in your role, and quite frankly, in any role that has to be responsive to behaviors, data is extremely important. We know it's the holy grail online. I'm a pure play digital guy too, right? And that's been my beginnings and my origins, and I've lived that same world as you have. Taking now my talents into the walls and then beyond and onto the street, I understand the importance of data online. For whatever reason, and I'll just ask this point blank, I feel like we've got this missing gap of all this great data that's available to us in store, right? Point of sale decision making, why not? Reviews, recommendations. Why are those left just to the online customer when we could open that gateway to the in-store customer too and collect that data? So I'll just ask you point blankly, is that on your radar in your role? And if so, how important is it and what are you doing?
Well, I mean, the answer is absolutely yes. And how important is it? I mean, I think you just said it, it's paramount. And there are some challenges there. I mean, I think that there are lots of great fixed point of sale solutions that do everything from dwell time tracking to traffic to, utilizing computer vision to understand who's standing at the display. That's not always readily available. So what you do see are some of these gaps in the data tapestry that you have to fill. And sometimes the answer is you can't fill it the way you would in a pure play A to B online environment. So what you have to do is you have to create as many diagnostic points really as you can. You have to learn as much about the environment as you can. And in certain cases, you have to create correlations and make certain hypotheses and try your best to validate them, right? So, we think about, the TV era was interesting. I mean, the TV era hasn't gone away. It has evolved significantly, but back in the Nielsen days, right? How did advertisers make that connection between before streaming TV to, all right, well, we put out, we had this much airtime, we saw this much sales lift, right? And there was a bit of, I mean, I don't want to say voodoo because that's not fair. There was science to it, but at that point, there was a certain fidelity of data that's very different than what you would have in a pure point A to point B, click to buy type environment. So, sometimes we are fortunate in the sense that we work with partners who have the ability to bring that technology to the shelf at scale. And that really, I think, closes a lot of gaps, really just understanding who's there. I know my friend Trevor is on here. I mean, Perch is a fantastic technology, not just because it's magical, right? But it tells us what we need to know. What we don't generally know in a traditional retail environment, even with the best of intentions, is how many people touch that product before they bought it. In an online environment, I can tell you how many product detail page views I've seen.
And why aren't they buying it, right? So if they touched it and don't like it, tell us why you didn't like it, right? So
well, that's what it is. Yeah. And I think so. So there are still cases, and there will be cases where your data tapestry, so to speak, especially across channels, is going to have holes. And, if you have good people, you have good experience, and you have good BI folks on your side, you can really try and draw those correlations as best you can and derive insights from them. And nothing is as great as really having data at each one of these points. But again, there are going to be cases where those two realms have a bit of a gap between them. So,
I know we're running out of time. I have one more question for you. I told you I wasn't going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you anyway because I'm just that kind of guy. But I look forward to a world where we can embrace the ability, and I try to sell it to the brands that I work with all the time. And I don't know why. I'll be genuine and authentic with you. I don't know why there's this hesitancy for the cost of printing a QR code. You could open up a world of content to your user and decision-making abilities right in the aisle when there's no one available, help them make decisions and solicit two-way feedback and potentially connect to a virtual service rep that could help them immediately in aisle. I don't know. And I'm on your page, Fred, of it's not going anywhere, but I look forward as we get even more ambitious, and hopefully maybe holiday is the key to the holy grail where people will just embrace it. And we will start to see that digital opening of that gateway opened in aisle. Said I wasn't going to ask, but I am going to ask because I just want to know what do you see? I got 2 or 3 minutes. I won't even make you go on about it. What are you seeing about your competition? You know the elephants in the room. I know them too. We won't speak of them here, but let's speak of them in generalities and say, what are you seeing, Fred? What are people doing right? What are they doing wrong? And how are you going to win?
That's a great question. So, let me try and narrow it down. I think, look, in any competitive environment, there is always this, it doesn't matter what the category, you always have this inherent sort of, it's a little bit of FOMO or envy. You look at what your competitor's doing, you're like, should we be doing that? I think ultimately it is, try and understand the patterns that people are adopting, how those patterns relate to you. I don't look to any of our competitors to make decisions for my business. But what I do like to look at is the creativity that comes with it. I'm not privy to what some of our competitors' marketing tactics are when I can't see them. I don't know what their success rates are. But what I do see is that, there's amongst our competitors, there's a lot of smart people, good marketing people, good tech people, and so you see things out in the world. I think, watching how some of our competitors are really driving home the use of virtual try-on. That's not unique to us. It's a little more unique in our price point. But, it's interesting to see how they're getting consumers excited about it. I love seeing design trends. I love seeing the communication style, because I think that's a big part of it, right? Your service experience and are part of your brand DNA. How does that then connect with your messaging? And I think when we look at some of our major competitors, I have a lot of respect for, like, you guys know who you are. We know who we are. You know who you are. So it's good to see kind of how everybody's expressing their unique take in the market, because we all just go out there and we say, it doesn't mean anything to people, but we have to, we can't appeal to the category as much as we can appeal to the consumer and the things that resonate with them. And so I love seeing how each competitive brand really kind of carves out a space for themselves. And so they are competitors in the sense that we're all in the same category. But what I find more than not is that we all occupy some unique parts of the spectrum, right? And so it's interesting for me to see how people, or rather specifically brands, are expressing their unique take on the eyewear category and how they're putting that out to market, whether it's through technology, whether it's through paid social creative, whatever it may be, right? So I'm always looking at what people are doing. Ultimately, I do what's right for my business, but I always periodically get inspired by what I see from a competitor, less about a Me Too thing, but more about, that's cool, guys, props. That's a good way to go about it, right? So,
yeah. I do think, and obviously you've got it covered. You don't need me to inspire you with any notes, but I do believe what I love about what you have, maybe an ability to do that the others don't, and one specifically that I think we know comes to mind. The brands you represent have a unique ability to your point, identify with a specific lifestyle inside the overall category, and I love I love that nuance in what you have the ability to do. So I don't know who said it because I read a lot of CEO books. I want to think, maybe you can put in the chat, someone can correct me. It was either Gates, Bezos, or the former CEO of Starbucks that said, when you're running a business, it's just as good to have an enemy as it is good to have someone you aspire to be, right?
Yeah.
So you go get your enemies, Fred. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you and spending time with you here. You're a heck of a guy, and I look forward to spending some more time with you. Thanks for your time.
Likewise, Andrew. Thank you. See you soon.
All right. I'm coming back. Wow, you killing it with the follow-up questions. I don't know how to follow up with that interview, especially since it's my first time. But thank you, Andrew, for that. So
go get them.
Well, you're not done yet.
Am I not done for this? All right, I'm
back
back in. All right. I'm back in.
So to introduce our next segment, I know we've been talking a lot about anywhere.
We're going to BDS first. Not Shannon. Oh, perfect. I love
Yes.
it. Oh, you guys switched it up on me. I think I asked for this switch up myself.
Someone didn't.
All right. Fantastic. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
So we all know that shopping happens everywhere, on phones, in apps, in store, online, you name it. So it only makes sense that selling now needs to happen anywhere. Just think about it. Could you do, excuse me, if you had a team of people anytime, any place, anywhere in the world who could promote your products, create content for you, and be sales rock stars
If only.
in store and online.
Where
and
could I
on the
find
go.
those people?
I don't know. I don't know. You tell me, Andrew.
We might find. Yeah, you're right. Right. So we did a funny video a day or so ago. We were promoting this, but the thought process is where are you going to buy from? Right. You're going to buy from social media. You're going to buy from online. You're going to buy from in store. And with my fabulous friends out in Mag, you're going to buy on the street. You're going to buy experientially.
Exactly.
You make anywhere the customer is. You got to be ready to connect. And you got to be ready to point a sale device, and you got to be ready to sell, right? So I have a wonderful guest who works on, and I'll tell the story as soon as he comes on. But I want to tell you a quick story to add context, and we'll go, right?
Okay.
And this is where the puzzle pieces to me all fit in place. I went, I won't mention any names, into a big box retailer, okay? Looking for my headphones. Won't mention even whose they were.
Okay. Fair enough.
Wanted a specific color. Walked up to the counter, asked for a specific color. Very nice young lady helped me to the counter. She was very helpful. She had a lovely blue shirt on. All right. So helped me got me to the counter. Looked at the headsets. I looked at them. Only white, no black. I like me some black headsets.
Yeah, they have to match your shoes.
They have to match.
And
They have to match my glow and the hair.
Yes.
Okay. To which, unfortunately, I was completely let down in that moment. The wonderful young lady who was helping me said, "We don't have black. I'm sorry."
So what'd you do?
Left.
Without buying anything.
And Mr. Bezos got a little richer that day. Okay. He got richer in the parking
he really
lot.
Needed that.
Like that. Okay. And they were at my house the next day. That's got to stop. That's got to stop. And BDS Connected Solutions is proud to offer you a solution that we can make that to stop. And we are proud to introduce today our Anywhere Ambassador program.
You want to show them your post?
I think Mitchell's going to change my background. All right. We have the Anywhere Ambassadors coming to you from BDS, launched June 14th. We've got special movie posters and is now live on the website. Let's bring Mr. Jason Jones in here right now to tell us a little bit more about the Anywhere Ambassadors and what we are doing. Welcome.
Woo!
We drink our own Kool-Aid here at BDS with the Anywhere Ambassadors. Bree again and I teed it up a little bit that these are people, because we're people-led, digital first. These are people, but that are cross-functional and cross-trained, cross-capability to sell, promote, interact,
and engage
anywhere and create content. They can create live stream content. They can be in-store selling. They can do training videos. They can be virtual reps, right?
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about how, I mean, I don't know how much you can share, what names we can drop. I'm going to leave it to you. Or are we just going to tell us exactly how BDS is using people like this right now on campaigns you represent?
Thank you.
Well, really, BDS is taking the opportunity to reach out to the consumer really wherever they are, as you guys kind of mentioned earlier in the call today, or in the show today. So what we're doing is training our people to be able to interact both virtually as well as in person or in store. And utilizing the technology that we've developed at BDS, like our TapAtech solution, we're able to do that. So, you know, we're able to have our in-store reps actually connect someone with a virtual rep right there if need be, or have a QR code where one of our reps could leave at the store, and then when a representative from that store or a customer is interested in speaking to someone, they can scan that QR code and they can get connected to a rep right away.
Very cool. So, you know, Jason, I imagine, you know, there's been a way that you've trained your reps in the past to sell, you know, either in store or online. And now that's kind of completely been upended. Like Andrew was saying, you know, they have to be anywhere and be able to do it all. So what does that transition look like? And how can companies like BDS Connected Solutions look to hire people with that wide range of skill set that maybe they haven't had to have in the past?
That's a really great question. And, you know, first, when we're in that recruiting process, we have to be very clear about the roles and responsibilities of the reps, and then hire accordingly. So if we're hiring someone that's specifically for the field, we may be looking for a different type of person than if we're looking for someone who's virtual. And then if we want someone who can do both, we've really got to look at a specific set of skills that can apply to both a virtual interaction and an in-person interaction. Some people feel really, really comfortable talking to people face to face, but you put them on camera or you put them on a screen and they freeze. So you've got to have someone who's really able to do both, or you have to assign people and have specific people that are in roles that will work to their strengths.
That's interesting. No, it's kind of like me, you know. I think I'm good talking to people in person, then I get in front of a camera and freeze up a little bit. But maybe, you know, it's something you can train and you can get more comfortable with.
Whiskey would help.
Whiskey, maybe not on the store floor though. But no, it's interesting. It's definitely a learnable skill, which is exciting.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Because I was out in LA and I got a chance to meet the people who are working, you know, and doing some content creation and doing some virtual rep. And what I learned, Jason, is we've not only those of us who don't know what the TapAtech people are, they're virtual service reps, right? They connect via URL. But what I learned is now when they've got downtime and potentially not taking a call, what we've got them doing at BDS is creating training video content. So basically they're creating field training videos and direct-to-consumer videos that are pushed from the brand, so that we've got this beautiful environment that they would normally taking direct-to-consumer calls in. We now have them for the same bandwidth, now shooting videos for direct-to-consumer and for training videos for in the field, so that we can get key learnings that we're learning from a digital transaction. They can use those in store as well. Do I have that right? We're doing that right now, correct?
Absolutely. The TapAtech team has done videos for Best Buy special events, for learning management systems for various clients. So we really are utilizing that team not only for those virtual interactions, but for those video interactions or those video productions that you're talking about. The spaces that we have available and what we call our bright shops are just really, really awesome, really professional looking, and they're a really great spot for us to do those kind of videos. And the team that's there has really learned, you know, they've really become strong in their presentation skills. So they're able to speak to people both face to face, or if we need them to, get them on camera. In addition, we've been utilizing that team as kind of a communication source within the stores and a way to demo products. So for example, if maybe we don't have a demo product that's available in store, but we have one in the Bright shop, we'll have our rep that's in store call that rep that's in the Bright shop, and the Tapatech rep will then demo the product virtually for the customer, and then the rep in store will then close the sale.
That's awesome. Well, they say, in the past year and a half that the digital transformation that the industry's gone through is kind of 3 to 4 years of acceleration just smushed into, 12 or 14 so months. So there has been astronomical growth and acceleration in the industry. And, companies like BDS Connected Solutions, they've really met the challenge and developed these new services like Tapatech and Anywhere Ambassadors. But, for the average company, they're still trying to play catch up and learn how they can adapt to this new buyer's journey and connected commerce initiatives. So in your opinion, what's the one thing that, any average company can do today to kind of address these changes and really, address the customer as the only channel that matters?
Yeah. So something that Andrew mentioned and was mentioned throughout the show so far, we've been talking about how that customer is the channel, right? How that customer is a walking and breathing channel. And basically anywhere the customer wants to make that transaction, that's where it needs to happen. So what brands need to do now to respond are to really change their mindset and think that, essentially you're always on now. You're not just selling when that customer is in store. That customer is being influenced all over the place. Their buying decisions are being influenced by the websites they visit, the social media channels, the videos they watch, the advertising that they see. So brands really need to make that adjustment and think of the consumer that way as someone who is everywhere. And is always, that the buying opportunities are always going to be there. And then they've also got to secure that technology. So they've got to have that technological solution that's going to allow them to connect to that consumer wherever they are. And then last but not least, one of the things that has been challenging is ultimately connecting with our retailers to close that sale. So, if we have one of our reps, for example, that's speaking with someone, we have to make sure that they have the means to be able to close that sale immediately rather than send that customer to another website. And
that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me, Jason. You're nailing it right there.
Yeah, you're a Best Buy person that they should have gotten you on .com and gotten that black headset order for you rather than let you walk out of that store and give
you can go pick it up off the road. We can get it delivered next day. There were so many opportunities, but I know we're running out of time, Jason. I want to make sure I'm going to bring this up again. So I'm so proud of this. Our team did this artwork here in Columbus, the digital team. But the thought process behind it, Jason, just so we are clear, is we've got virtual people, social media influencers, on-demand trainers, in-store advocates, experiential teams, all working together.
Yes.
And some of which are cross-trained to do multiple functions, and we're calling them the Anywhere Ambassadors. Because to your point, and I should have maybe pulled Jason into the poll, because I actually always like always on ambassadors too, because Anywhere Ambassadors not only have to be anywhere, but I love your thought process. They always have to be on, right? Because there's always a point to be connecting. But I will end it with this, and I will tell you that content, we've all talked about digital and we've all talked about virtual interactions, but content is the new currency. And our customers want to digest it, they want to consume it, they want to eat it, and they want to use it. And it should be a currency we use to connect our customer to our brand, right?
Absolutely.
But we don't do nearly enough to create it. I want to tell you that not only will we be there, and I love the work you and your team are doing with Facebook, and I think it's fantastic what we're doing with multiple brands, but when we talk about the content that needs to be created to affect that purchase decision and how we can help be there to connect those dots between retail expertise, experiential expertise, and online expertise, I think the sky is going to be the limit. And like I said, and I will welcome Bree again back in as I pushed her off with my
you pushed me off with the poster.
with my poster. I love the work you're doing. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thanks for having me.
So that we could talk about Anywhere Ambassadors a little bit. We don't like to plug our own stuff here on the Hype Hours. That's not what it's about. But this is an innovative thing that I think everybody should get involved in. And go to bdsconnectedsolutions.com and learn more. Jason, been an absolute pleasure talking with you and meeting with you here. Continue to do the great work you're doing. You are an industry-leading team, and I'm proud to work with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye, Jason. Well, Andrew, speaking of us not plugging our own stuff, we have one more thing to plug.
All right.
Our Hype Bites. So
Okay.
this is where Kelly Campbell is coming back into the conversation because she actually had an amazing chance to interview Shannon Curtis last week, the CEO of New World Natural Brands. So New World Natural Brands is a startup portfolio company that acquires and provides founder-led brands with capital for scale. And she is the leader of the beauty and wellness and personal care aspect of that company. So in this Hype Bite from Kelly Campbell, we're going to hear what Shannon has to say about why it's so important to get to know who your customer really is and how she and her team had to pivot to kind of meet those challenges in this past year.
So today, I'm very excited to have Shannon Curtis, CEO of New World Natural Brands, here with us to talk about her startup portfolio company that acquires and provides founder-led brands capital for scale. And she is a leader in the beauty and personal care industry. She previously served as SVP North America Consumer Beauty for Coty Inc., Group VP and GMM of Beauty and Personal Care at Walgreens Boots Alliance, Inc., and she started her corporate career with Walmart. I'm very excited to bring her on and talk a little bit more about what she does and how she's had to pivot herself over this last year. So let's bring Shannon on. Hi, Shannon.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to dive into our conversation. I've been so excited to get into this. But first, before we dive in, I want to talk about your role at your company. What does, a typical day in your life look like? What do you do? Can you give us a little scoop?
Well, I don't think there are any typical days. So I head up our portfolio business. We have 3 brands in our portfolio. We have Bay Bodies, Suki Skincare, 1821 Man-Made. What we do is we acquire founder-led brands. We provide capital, resource, support, a lot of administration work, marketing, all the shared services that you would have of a bigger company, and getting them ready for scale. So there's not any day that feels like the day before, I assure you, especially this last year.
I'm sure. Well, let's just dive right into it because today we're talking about the digital transformation of the beauty industry, right? And I'm excited to get your perspective on it, especially what you saw, before COVID and then how it all changed since. So what did you personally experience within your own company?
Well, I'll tell you a couple of personal experiences too. I think that's important as a leader of what you experience during something such as this catastrophic event that we all went through. So during pre-COVID, I was very traditional. I would go to stores, I would smell products, I would touch products, I would interact with another human. That was something I really enjoyed. Once a quarter, I'd get a massage. Once a quarter, I'd go to a salon. Once a month, I'd have drinks with friends. Like these networks and communities were available to me in having real human-to-human touch. And I've been in this beauty business for 30 years. So over the last 30 years, we've found ways as an industry to get closer and closer to humans. And we've used digital technology as an enabler to connect us with humans. And then literally last year, we went from pre-COVID, which is hands-on, very close, in your face, literally touching your face, touching your hands, hugging that person, being there for them, being in the salon chair, being the person that is a bestie to the client, a bestie to the person that's getting married, someone that was in their trusted circle, all hands-on to all hands-free. And that changed the industry forever. So we had to find a way in order to connect with consumers again. And the best way to do that was to borrow from the digital technology, but make that the one that connected us all together versus the one that just enabled new interactions with one another. So it has been such an interesting year. We're all excited about getting outside again and doing things, but the way that we've changed our industry because of this is for the better, and we won't go back. There's not anything to go back to. It's just going to be a better and stronger world that we're moving into.
Yeah, there's definitely no reset button, right? We can't just
No,
press
it's
that and go
forward.
back to how it was. I think there are different things about this new world that consumers have become accustomed to, changing behaviors, and now it's second nature to us versus before it was very unfamiliar. So I had a similar experience to you as well, where I would go into stores testing out all kinds of makeup products and just really immersing myself in what makes sense for my lifestyle. But now it's totally different. So very interesting.
Now you don't have to smell it to sell it, you know.
Yeah,
like
that's
you
true.
have to smell something, do I like it? What does it work with my body chemistry? And now we're so great with our language of explaining. We have phenomenal sales online for the fragrance category for the first time in 100 years, right? The internet's not been around that long, I know that. But in 100 years, over the course of making fragrances, this is the time that it's actually growing again. In the last 20 years, it hasn't been. So this has been an interesting phenomenon that's happened out of our industry specifically, with the use of digital technology and language that we use to describe our products and being really understanding where the consumer's coming from and speaking with her.
That's amazing. So I know one of your brands is 1821 Man-Made, and it's an awesome brand. I am so excited to go get one of those for my dad for Father's Day and my husband. But tell me about how you pivoted that brand so quickly last year. What was something that you learned?
This has been such a crazy story. So New World Natural Brands is just 3 years old. So I'm the second CEO of the company. I've been a CEO in catastrophic event longer than I've been a CEO in non-catastrophic event. So in October of 2019, we acquired 1821. 1821 is a high-end professional grooming brand. The predominant vertical of revenue was salons. Okay, so remember that. Predominant, meaning 95% came from of the business came from salon. And then that was October of 2019. Quickly move forward to March 16th, 2020. Between March 16th and March 22nd, 24th at the latest of 2020, our entire business closed.
Wow.
All salons, all geographies, all Macy's, all Ultas, Amazon deemed professional, non-essential. The only store that we had was our small D2C, clunky, horrific user experience D2C site.
Yep.
Welcome back. Again, I'm going to change this real quick.
We're just fixing plain what's in there, aren't we? That's Andrew's favorite thing in the whole world.
That's exactly right.
That was awesome. I really enjoyed hearing from Shannon. I mean, I can't imagine having to pivot in the beauty industry at the very beginning of COVID after just opening your company and coming on as CEO. That must have been the craziest time ever for her. But, it sounds like she really helped lead that change, and it was really cool to hear it from someone like that in that space.
Especially in the beauty industry, man, they had to pivot hard. Like she said, everything shut down. So, well, we got a really exciting guest closing on our show, do we not?
Oh yes, we do. The one and only Trevor Sumner from Perch Interactive, and we're excited to have him on and kind of talk to him. I know that you had the chance to have a conversation with him.
I did.
I think a week or so ago. So that's going to go up as a hype bite next week on LinkedIn. So stay on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, let's put Trevor back on.
Let's get him in here. Trevor, welcome. Welcome to the program.
Great to be here.
All right. Trevor, what the heck do you do at Perch?
So fundamentally, Perch does digital signage, but and I'm a New Yorker, so pardon my language. Most digital signage sucks. It's blinky text saying maybe it's Maybelline, maybe it's Maybelline. It's not contextual. It's designed to interrupt the shopping experience. So what we do is we actually use computer vision. So it's like Minority Report. So the moment you touch a product on the shelf, it just wakes up and starts telling you the product. So we all know, we just talked about this about online and doing research. We want ratings, we want reviews, we want videos, and we want it for every product on the shelf. And the only way to do that, short of asking people to scan QR codes or download apps and do a bunch of, uncomfortable and onerous things, is to use computer vision. And it's like clicking on a product in store. So you guys talked about omni-channel. I think of it as kind of like unified commerce or connected commerce, you guys call it, which I agree with as well. Now we can actually marry the best of both digital and physical shopping together, and collect all the data about what people are actually touching in store, which is, the biggest black box, considering 85% of transactions occur in store.
I had a chance to listen to one of your live streams a week or so ago, and I have to be honest with you, Trevor. I unless it's my live stream, I usually become disinterested relatively quickly. So, but I was happy to be as engrossed in yours and what you were saying about this digital revolution in store and how it's going to the evolution that you saw and how the interactions with displays are the precipice is right upon us right now, and that retail experience, it's really going to truly be an adapt or die from a sense of from in-store interactions with displays and how a customer is actually going to participate, and digital is going to participate in that journey. How are you seeing this customer journey evolve due to the rapid digital transformation over the last year? Like, bring some context to these statements that I'm making. Based on what I know about where retail is going.
Yeah, so people talk about e-commerce a lot and how e-commerce has grown. However, I think again, 85% of transactions still occur in store, and it's such a fundamental piece of the customer journey. And it's really odd to me that 1% of digital media is spent where 85% of transactions actually occur. And if you think about the ultimate digital desert, it's in store. Like, how can that be? The place where we buy products is the only place I can't get media about the products? It's crazy, right? And fundamentally, I think we're starting to unlock the technologies to understand shopper behavior in store, so we can leverage that to better organize planograms, better organize our merchandising, and better hit them with the right message at the right time. Right now, the reason I think that digital signage struggles is a lack of data, a lack of being able to personalize it to my journey, a lack of understanding if it even works. And so, data is the underlying piece to a lot of this. And that's why like 5G and all the sensor technologies and IoT, or the Internet of Things, is so important to this technology adoption to help the shoppers in meaningful ways.
Can I ask you a question that's kind of off it's not on the question list, but you just hit me. You just hit me. Do you think, in your opinion, because we're all talking, Apple's got their new ads out, right, about privacy and about get out of my data, get out of my information. But I've always been but we want personalized shopping experiences. So where's the holy grail in between privacy and personalization? Because a lot of times they're at odds.
Yeah.
So how do we get to a point where, and what are you doing? And it's a fair question to even ask you, how do I get over the fact that I'm giving up information, but it's information that's going to allow you to not maybe market me and barrage me and direct mail me, but personalize my shopping experience so it's seamless from an online to in-store interaction. I'm willing to do it online hesitantly, but you're right, it's zero at store. But
yeah.
how are we going to deal with that?
Well, I think first is understanding which signals actually matter, right? So when I go up to a shelf, does it matter that I'm a 44-year-old male? Sure, that helps as a signal. Does it matter more that I have this product in my hand that I'm looking at? That is the ultimate signal. And that's you can figure that out without knowing my age, my name, my purchase history. Like those things are good for personalization. But I think we're like, to me, the way I think about it is online, you can click on a product to get more information. That we should do that in store. And the click is when you touch a product. And you can balance privacy just by instrumenting those clicks, right? You're not forcing this trade-off. And I think a lot of people are collecting first-party data in store so that they can personalize, they can send you emails after the fact. And truth be told, we do use that engagement to collect first-party data where we can, but you can add so much value just by understanding context.
That's right.
And again, I think right now, I don't know if Andrew, do you know the origin of the word store?
I do not.
So we're all in retail. I just heard this, and this is great. So when the ships came in with the goods at the ports, they created a place, a warehouse, where they would store the products on the shelves. And we're now a couple thousand years later, and we're still just storing products on the shelf without the context of the experience, right? And so we had to go past this notion of storage and more into a shopper journey and understanding the points, understanding the shopper, understanding how they interact. And that's what gets me excited, because I think COVID has accelerated the way in we think about and have normalized our data, our product information, our inventories. And now with all of this data, all of this technology, we have a foundation to build these higher level functions to meaningfully change the shopper journey and create something that's engaging, that gives them the right information and ratings and reviews and videos at the right moment, at the point of consideration in store.
Trevor, I could sit and listen to you because forever, because you are preaching something. You're preaching, one, to the converted, but two, how do we get brands and retailers to get on board? How do we, everything you're saying makes sense. How are we spending? And let's bring that stat home, because it was one of my favorite stats you said on the live stream, and I'm so appreciative you said it today. 1%. You say it again. I don't want to misquote you. Say it exactly. How do we get that to change?
So yeah, 1% of digital media spend happens where 85% of transactions occur, which is in store. And I think it is changing. And the challenge actually is a little bit of a danger of who chooses this. Like, I think is it the retailer who sets up like these banner ad networks with digital signage on the walls, and you hire a bunch of media people and ad network people, and it'll be super profitable. So they're like, oh, we did 2 screens that are profitable. Let's do 6, let's do 10. And you're going to wake up and effectively, if you think of it almost as an e-commerce site, as a little bit of an e-commerce site with a ton of banner ads around it, right? The other option, and I think this is where something like Perch comes into play, is where the brands through shopper marketing and the merchandising managers and the category managers at the retailer really are thoughtful about how to inject digital into the shopper journey, and to do it in a way that's contextual and helpful, and not, maybe it's Maybelline flashing, blinky text at you, but literally try to provide the right information at the right time.
That's right.
And that, I think, will create the best shopper experience of all. And the reality is, there are people with that vision. I think there's short-term thinking, there's long-term thinking, there's lots of different groups battling for the notion. You got in-store people going digital, you have digital people going in-store. These worlds are colliding and harmonizing, and there's going to be a lot of chaos, there's going to be a lot of failed things and a lot of super big successes. But to the winners will go the spoils.
Well, I will tell you, luckily, there's this entire team at BDS that can help you create that content. If you are one of those people so I think that's, I love
Andrew, if I could interrupt, that's the other piece is that, this stuff is hard to deploy into the real world, into physical world. And that's why partners like BDS are critical, right? Like having fleets of people who who you trust, who have apps, who can log the work that they're doing, who go through questionnaires, who take pictures of what they're doing, and all the systems that you guys bring into bear, who can monitor the devices in real time. That stuff is critical because people have tried a bunch of stuff without that and failed. And so, what you guys do to bridge the digital concept into the physical world is a critical piece that, many people overlook with inferior partners.
Well, I will tell you this, and then, Trevor, unfortunately, we're out of time. I'm watching, I bring him up because it's tremendous what he does with his division, is my good friend and partner, Jonathan Margolis and Lynetta and Beth and their team up in New York with the experiential division. What they're seeing in terms of growth and brands and retailers alike coming to them and saying, do you know how important experience is to us? But I will tell him, and I know he's probably watching, why are we not taking those experiences, memorializing them, and allowing them to live longer at the point where more customers can see them, which is in store, right? So We're talking right now of how we bring that to an evergreen type of environment where a customer can experience that brand on their terms, not necessarily if they were fortunate enough to be at the specific event or at the place where it was held.
And what gets me jazzed right now, and we're going to announce a very big 200 store deployment, is that this stuff used to be like, we used to do Joe Malone and high luxury where you pick a fragrance and it animates in a honeysuckle and lemon. And it was like, oh, this is custom, it's high end. We're seeing the democratization of this technology into grocery, into mass market retail. So I think it's coming. I think it's going to come like a tidal wave. I think you're going to see a multi-billion-dollar shift of digital media from online into store. And we're at the center of it all. So it's exciting times.
Well, Trevor, I know we're out of time, but I know we did a Hype Bite with you, and Kelly was fortunate enough to conduct that. We're going to post that on our social media so people can see the full interview of you and Kelly. But thank you so much for making time with us live and doing those videos. And I always usually invite guests back. It is never disingenuous, but I will tell you, in your situation, I would be remiss not to talk to you again, and I look forward to having you on another show.
Awesome. Let's do it. Thank you so much for having me.
Trevor. Thank you for your time.
That was awesome. I learned a lot. I think
that guy's awesome.
That's really cool.
I could have talked to him for a while. I think he's dialed in. I think he understands where we're going, and he's got real solutions on how to help us get there.
Yeah. It's always funny to be, I was thinking as he was talking, like I remember being 12, 13 years old and going to the mall with my friends, not because I had money to spend, but just because it was an experience. It was an experience destination. And it's funny now to kind of see that coming back, especially when consumers are craving experiences above all else, going to stores because it is a destination to, an end. So
that's right. There's no substitute for touching, feeling, and experiencing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a full circle moment, and I'm excited to
It's a circle of life.
Circle of life.
All right, with that, I know we're over time. Bree, again, why don't you close us out?
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for sticking around with us through some early technical difficulties. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Hype Hour. We have some more connected commerce episodes coming up, so keep an eye out for those announcements on social media and your emails. And of course, check out the Hype Bites with Trevor on LinkedIn. I think they're posting next week.
All right. And with that note, we are going to watch a video clip from our very own president, Sean Ludick, who I know loves my horn.
Personalization is still top of mind for consumers as they want more of it. They want brands and retailers to know their names, recommend new options, and know their purchase history. But more importantly, they want at least one personalized component integrated into their shopping experience. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. At Sephora, customers can create beauty profiles where they list their hair, eye, and skin color, and products are recommended based on each brand's color palette. They are then emailed when products they want are back in stock, or to remind them of products they've left in their shopping carts. The Sephora app allows shoppers to try makeup on virtually via 3D augmented reality, and a freestanding version of this is also offered in stores. H&M is taking a leadership position in personalization and sustainability in fast fashion. In their flagship store in Sweden, they offer a loop machine where customers can bring in their old clothing. The machine will disassemble the product, and the material then gets cleaned, respun into a new garment unique to each customer. Recommended remanufactured garments are personalized based on both materials the customer brings in and what the customer wants it to be.